Welcome back, history fans. Ancient Greece was a non-stop bloodbath. From Thermopylae to the Aegean Sea, these guys were always at it. Full-on, hand-to-hand, shield-bashing, spear-chucking, gut-spilling combat. These weren't just battles for land or gold. These were battles for honor, loyalty, and grit. Over the next hour, we'll explore 5 iconic Greek battles. We'll talk about the weapons, tactics, and values that drove them to fight. Get ready, folks, because this is going to be a wild ride. Let's kick things off with the legendary Battle of Thermopylae. It's 480 BC, the sun's beating down on a narrow mountain pass. On one side, the Persian army, led by Xerxes' worst, a force so massive it's said to have drunk rivers dry. On the other side, 300 Spartans, led by King Leonidas. Talk about bad odds. These Spartans were the baddest dudes on the planet. They ate, slept, and breathed combat. Dying in battle wasn't a tragedy for these guys, it was an honor. When Xerxes demanded the Spartans lay down their weapons, Leonidas famously replied, "Molon Labe, come and get them." For 3 days, those 300 Spartans, along with a few thousand other Greek allies, held off the entire Persian army. They fought like cornered lions, their shields locked tight, their spears thirsty for Persian blood. The narrow pass acted like a bottleneck, negating the Persian advantage in numbers. The Spartans fought bravely, but they were eventually betrayed and outflanked. Every single one of them died, including Leonidas, but their sacrifice wasn't in vain. Those 3 days bought precious time for the other Greek city-states to regroup and prepare for the Persian onslaught. The Battle of Thermopylae became a symbol of courage, sacrifice, and the indomitable spirit of the Greeks. It showed the world that even a small force, fighting for something they believe in, can stand up to a mighty empire. The Greeks had a few tricks up their sleeves when it came to warfare. One of their most effective tools was the Hoplite Phalanx. Imagine a wall of bronze and flesh, advancing slowly but relentlessly across the battlefield. Hoplites were the citizen soldiers of ancient Greece. They weren't professionals, they were everyday guys who picked up swords when their city was threatened. They fought shoulder to shoulder, shield to shield, in a tight formation that was incredibly difficult to break. Each hoplite carried a large, round shield called a hoplon, a spear called a doru, and a short sword called a xiphos for close-quarters combat. The phalanx wasn't just about individual strength, it was about teamwork, discipline, and trust. Each hoplite relied on the man next to him to hold the line, to protect his flank. This created an incredible bond between the soldiers, a sense of brotherhood forged in the heat of battle. They trained together, fought together, and sometimes died together. They shared the same risks, the same hardships, and the same hopes for victory. The phalanx wasn't just a military formation, it was a reflection of Greek society itself. It was a symbol of their discipline, their unity, and their willingness to fight for their freedom. Fighting in a phalanx was brutal, exhausting work, but through it all, the hoplites held their ground, their shields interlocked, their spirits unbroken. They knew that their survival, and the survival of their city, depended on their ability to stand together as one. The Hoplite Phalanx is a testament to the power of teamwork, discipline, and shared sacrifice. It's a reminder that even ordinary people, when united by a common purpose, can achieve extraordinary things. While the Spartans perfected land warfare, the Athenians built a maritime empire. Control of the Aegean Sea meant control of trade routes, resources, and strategic advantages. The Athenians were natural-born sailors, their ships as much a part of their identity as their democracy. They built sleek, deadly triremes, warships powered by hundreds of oarsmen rowing in unison. These ships were fast, maneuverable, and armed with a bronze ram at the bow that could smash an enemy vessel to splinters. The Athenian navy made a name for itself during the Persian Wars. The Battle of Salamis in 480 BC proved that Athenian naval power was a force to be reckoned with. The Persian fleet, confident in their numbers, sailed into the narrow straits of Salamis, expecting to make short work of the Athenian ships. But the Athenians, led by the brilliant general Themistocles, had other plans. They lured the Persians into a trap, using their superior knowledge of the currents and their faster ships to outmaneuver the larger, clumsier Persian vessels. The result was a massacre. Athenian triremes darted through the water like angry hornets, ramming, sinking, and scattering the Persian fleet. The narrow straits, which the Persians thought would work to their advantage, became their graveyard. The Battle of Salamis was a decisive victory for the Greeks. and it cemented Athens' reputation as the dominant naval power in the Aegean. Athenian naval power wasn't just about ships and tactics, it was about the men who manned those ships, the sailors who risked their lives in the service of their city. Life aboard an Athenian trireme wasn't glamorous, but through it all, the Athenian sailors persevered, their courage and skill ensuring their city's dominance at sea. Too much of a good thing can be bad for you. That sums up the Peloponnesian War. After the Persians were sent packing, the Greeks turned on each other. From 431 to 404 BC, Athens and Sparta, the two most powerful city-states in Greece, locked horns in a bitter conflict. This wasn't just a border dispute or a squabble over resources. This was a clash of ideologies, a battle for the very soul of Greece. Athens, with its democracy, its navy, and its empire, represented progress and innovation. Sparta, with its warrior culture, its strict discipline, and its traditional values, represented order and stability. The Peloponnesian War was a long, drawn-out affair, full of betrayals, atrocities, and enough bloodshed to make even the most hardened Spartan wince. Cities were besieged, crops were burned, and entire populations were displaced. The Athenian plague, a devastating epidemic that swept through the city, killed thousands, including their leader, Pericles. One of the most infamous events of the war was the siege of Melos, a small island that dared to remain neutral in the conflict. The Athenians demanded Melos surrender and become a tributary state. When the Melians refused, the Athenians slaughtered all the men and enslaved the women and children. Despite the brutality, there were still glimmers of honor and courage on both sides. The Peloponnesian War ended in 404 BC with the defeat of Athens. Sparta, aided by the Persians, emerged victorious, but at a terrible cost. Both sides were exhausted, their populations decimated, their economies in ruins. The war had weakened Greece to the point where it was ripe for conquest by outsiders. Let's wrap things up with a story about ambition, conquest, and one man's quest to conquer the known world. I'm talking about Alexander the Great. Born in Pella, Macedonia in 356 BC, Alexander wasn't your typical Greek. He was a force of nature, a brilliant strategist, a charismatic leader, and a warrior without equal. By the age of 20, Alexander had inherited his father's throne and set his sights on the Persian Empire. With an army of Macedonians and Greek allies, Alexander embarked on a campaign of conquest that would last for over a decade and reshape the political landscape of the ancient world. From the dusty plains of Persia to the scorching deserts of Egypt, Alexander led his army to victory after victory. He crushed the Persian army at the Battle of Granicus River, sacked the city of Tyre after a grueling 7-month siege, and routed the Persian king Darius III at the Battle of Gaugamela. But Alexander wasn't just a conqueror, he was a visionary. He believed in creating a world where Greek culture and Eastern traditions could coexist, where knowledge and ideas could flow freely. He founded cities, established trade routes, and encouraged intermarriage between his soldiers and the people they conquered. Of course, Alexander's conquests came at a cost. His campaigns were marked by brutal sieges, bloody battles, and the deaths of thousands. Alexander's empire stretched from Greece to India, encompassing a staggering diversity of cultures and peoples. He died at the young age of 32, his body exhausted from years of campaigning, and his dreams of further conquest unfulfilled. But his legacy lived on, his name whispered in awe and fear for centuries to come. Love him or hate him, there's no denying that Alexander the Great left an indelible mark on history. So there you have it, folks, a glimpse into the bloody, brutal, and often glorious world of Greek warfare. These weren't just battles fought with swords and shields, they were battles for the hearts and minds of men. They were about honor, loyalty, sacrifice, and the kind of grit that most of us today can only imagine. From the Spartans at Thermopylae to Alexander's conquests in the East, these warriors left behind a legacy that continues to inspire and intrigue us. They remind us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, courage and determination can make a difference. They teach us that true strength lies not just in physical prowess, but in the bonds of brotherhood, the pursuit of knowledge, and the unwavering belief in a cause greater than oneself. So the next time you're feeling overwhelmed by the world, remember the Greeks. Remember their courage, their sacrifice, and their unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit. And maybe, just maybe, their stories will inspire you to face your own challenges with a little more grit, a little more determination, and a whole lot more heart. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history.